Hello, everybody. I'm Jonathan. This is the rest of the Boredom Sated crew, and we are continuing with our spells, our opinion on spells that are overpowered at each level. This is our 4th level spell list. As per usual, I will be starting with my opinion. We'll go around in a circle, talk about the reason why we think these spells are overpowered. My first spell that I believe is overpowered is Confusion. Confusion, in every edition of D&D in most games, Confusion is cool. It's your action to basically take away somebody else's action. Saving throw, things like that. In 5th edition, there's one additional thing, which is the reason why I think this is overpowered. Each creature in a sphere of 10-foot radius, centered on the point chosen, makes the wisdom saving throw. If they're bunched up, you can get 4 or 5 people in this saving throw, and it sucks. I've had 4 party members hit with it on the first round of combat before anyone had a chance to go, and half the party failed a saving throw. On a 1, you move in a random direction. You don't take an action. On a 2 through 6, you don't do anything and don't take an action. On a 7 and 8, you get to make a melee attack against a randomly determined creature within reach. If no one's in reach, you do nothing. And only on a 9 or a 10, so only a 20% chance, you can act normally. It's amazingly powerful against the players, and it's also amazingly powerful against the enemies. Again, if they're bunched up, you can get 2 or 3 people in this spell. It is concentration, which makes it a little bit of a weakness, but if they fail, it is so strong. And also, for every spell slot you use higher than 4, the radius increases by 5 feet. Just think about the fact that as a 6th level spell, it's the radius of a fireball as Confusion.
Yep. So my spell I picked was Banishment. The first reason is the saving throw stat it uses is Charisma. So, usually if you're fighting another party, it's usually a drop stat. And then with monsters, it's very rarely a primary save stat for them. The other benefit is it banishes anybody not from the material plane permanently if they fail the saving throw. And anybody from the material plane, as long as you concentrate, they can be gone for a minute. So in a boss fight, like with a dragon or somebody, if they fail the saving throw, it gives you a breather for about a minute. It lets you recoup. It lets the cleric heal everybody. It lets you prep for when it pops in, because you'll know approximately where it's going to be coming back. And you can it's an effective way to give you some breathing time against creatures from the material plane, and does get rid of anybody that's not from the material plane permanently.
My first op spell is a little bit controversial with this group, at least, and it is Fabricate. Now, this is a transmutation spell where you can take a 10 by 10 by 10 foot cube of raw material and turn it into finished product in 10 minutes. Now, think of the profit margins where you take raw materials and you just hire people out to bring you the raw materials, put it in a room, don't let them see how you're doing it, and then have them come, maybe once a week you enter your home, and every week they come and pick up the raw material, the finished products, and sell it for you. Yes. You're gonna make a lot of gold. It's consistent gold that's especially if you're in a GM area or a dungeon master area where it doesn't give you a lot of money from adventuring. Now that's different with different dungeon masters. Some give you a lot, and some are really stingy, super stingy. Well, this is a way you can get around it. This is permanent finished product. Unlike 5th level spells in transmutation, which are not permanent, this one is. And finished product always has 20, 30, 40, 50% profit margins from all the labor and everything else that goes into it. So I think it's a gold printing machine at this point, as the way it's worded.
Yes. John likes to play stores and merchants, not Dungeons and Dragons.
Are you just playing role? Are you just like LARPing Monopoly?
Some people like this, some people don't. But hey, it's there. It's available. It is a gold printing machine, especially when you need like gems for your other spells and diamonds and 1,000 gold diamonds. Hey, this is a way to print money.
All right, so my spell that I figure is incredibly powerful for its level, 4th level, is Ego Whip. Now, Ego Whip, what it does is it is intelligence saving throw. So unless you're a wizard, there are not that many classes off the top, maybe a rogue, that have intelligence as a saving throw. So they're automatically boned as soon as they fail it. And if you do, you suffer a disadvantage on attack rolls, ability checks, saving throws, and you can't cast spells. So that basically, no matter what class you are, you're not going to have a good day. You get another saving throw at the end of your turn, but like I said before, it's an intelligence saving throw. And if you succeed, then you end the effect. And it's concentration, but still, it's a rough one to get past once it's got on you. And it's a brilliant way to shut down any of the spellcasters types or people with spellcasting power. That's my
intelligence is definitely probably the hardest spell saving throw to get past, because there are only a couple of classes that do it. So, moving on to our second spells. My second spell on my list of overpowered spells is, and again, this one for some people might be controversial, but if you think about it, it's really not. Freedom of movement. Now, freedom of movement has a duration of 1 hour, does not have concentration, so you can put it on everybody in the party. And the reason to do this is many-fold. First, for the duration, the target's movement is unaffected by difficult terrain. Spells and magical effects can neither reduce the target's speed nor cause the target to be paralyzed or restrained. That is why it's amazing. No paralyzed, no restrained.
No hold person. Yeah.
Hold person doesn't. There are many, many monster effects that don't do anything if you've got freedom of movement. Next, you can spend 5 feet of your movement to automatically escape from non-magical restraints, such as manacles, or, even more importantly, a grapple effect. Someone grapples you, 5 feet of movement, I'm out. No, you don't do anything to me at all. And finally, being underwater imposes no penalties on the target's movement or attacks. If you cast freedom of movement on your party, you are literally getting yourself out of entire encounter problems. You can negate entire effects of certain monsters by just having freedom of movement on your party. And guess what? If you're high enough level, you don't even have to have your main caster cast it, because rangers can cast freedom of movement. And I'm pretty sure it's not a 4th level spell for them. Bards, clerics, and druids also get it as 4th level spells. And so you can use it for any of them. And honestly, some of my favorite magic items are any of those that give you some spell-like abilities. Freedom of movement is right up there. There's a cloak that I know gives you freedom of movement, although off the top of my head, and because I didn't feel like it, I did not remember which one it was. But freedom of movement is a fantastic spell, a fantastic ability. It's not necessarily something that you want to have memorized every day, but if someone gets paralyzed at random, cast freedom of movement on them, they're free, and it is a fantastic feeling to negate abilities that do that.
So my second overpowered spell choice is Sickening Radiance. So it's it lasts up to 10 minutes with concentration, 120 feet range, 30-foot radius. It does deal 4d10 radiant damage. There's a Constitution saving throw, but if you fail the saving throw, you take the damage and you're exhausted. Exhausted is horrible, because when you're exhausted, you are at disadvantage on all ability checks, including attacks, spells, saving throws, all the others. So not only are you taking damage, but you are now worse at everything you do. And the other interesting thing, sort of that extra twist, you cannot be invisible within the the radius of the spell. So very interesting, little benefit to bypass invisible creatures, and doing damage while putting exhaustion on somebody is really effective.
My next overpowered spell is Dimension Door. 500 feet of range that you can go in any direction if you can visualize it. It's the best getaway spell. You can take one other person and the stuff that you're wearing and they're wearing, as long as they're not over encumbered. And you can go right out of a dungeon. You can teleport out of a cave to safety, or teleport back in if you've seen it and know where exactly it is. It's one action. It's available to many classes, including Bard, Sorcerer, Warlock, Wizard, and a few of the Fighter and Rogue subtypes. So it is really, really powerful. I mean, for a Rogue, you can teleport right next to the boss and give him a backstab and cast it again, teleport it out. I mean, it's the ridiculous stuff like that you can really come up with.
Yeah. Well, my second... originally, I was going to pick another spell, but then I read it a little bit more closely. So I'm going to go with my alternate, which is Aura of Purity. Aura of Purity is a 30-foot radial burst from yourself. It's only for clerics and paladins. But what it does is everybody, including yourself, the caster, of course, within that 30-foot radial burst, for concentration up to 10 minutes, they can't be diseased, and they become resistant to poison damage. And they get advantage on saving throws with all these following effects: blinded, charmed, deafened, frightened, paralyzed, poisoned, and stunned. This is, there's another spell in another level I'll discuss in the next video or so. That's actually an upgrade of this. But this is a great, it is kind of situational, but if you are fighting a horde of, say, for instance, or a group of lycanthropes, for instance, you can't become diseased. Lycanthropy is a disease. If you're fighting against creatures that have poison, you have not only advantage on the saving throws, but you also have resistance against poison. And having advantage on things like being charmed, or stunned, or paralyzed, or frightened is tremendously useful, especially in certain combat situations where if one of your party members, especially like a healer or whatever, or the tanky guy, suddenly becomes charmed, that could completely reverse the tide of the battle against you. So this is a nice buff for everybody else. The only weakness is its concentration, but if you take the Warcaster feat as a caster, you should be golden.
Now, I will mention one issue. Two of the spells we just mentioned do not work well together, because one requires everyone to be within a 30-foot radius of you, and one of them requires no friendlies to be within a 30-foot radius of you, because the spell Boris mentioned affects allies as well. So you need to make sure your allies are not within 30 feet of you, or they might become exhausted and take some radiant damage.
Well, it has 120-foot range, so you can put the radius around at a further point.
Okay. I thought it was within range of you.
No.
Okay, so that does make it much
120-foot range, yeah.
Because it'd be funny. It's like, yeah, it's on me. It affects everybody else. It's over here. It affects everybody else.
No. It's yeah.
So to finish off fourth level, now for most of these levels, we're gonna, like, two of us might bring up one spell, but for fourth level, there's one spell that I'm sure several of you have already thought, where is it coming? When is it coming in? We have to say that this, and we have to do this a little differently because of what spell it is, and that spell is Polymorph. Polymorph is among the most powerful spells in 5th edition because of the way it works, and we're just going to have each person kind of discuss some of their opinion as to why it's so strong.
It's it really, if the individual fails their saving throw, it transforms them into, something super weak, easily killable, and just the saving throw is wisdom, unless the creature is cleric base or something like that. Most likely, it will not have wisdom as a strong stat to save against. So that's a huge bonus, and it's one of the spells that, combined with a power word kill, that could, based on the way both spells are written, could kill a Tarask. If the Tarask fails the Polymorph saving throw, then being hit by the power word kill, it doesn't reduce it to 0, because you instantly die from the power word kill if you have less than 100 hit points, and therefore the Tarask is dead, not regenerating because it still has hit points. So it's a based on the way you interpret it, it is one of the spells necessary with combination that could kill a Tarask. So you know how powerful it is. Based on its verbiage.
Yeah, and plus it has a 60-foot range, so it's not touch. You could change people into T-Rexes, like your own party or yourself, and gain an extra 150 hit points on top of the hit points you have. Since you don't die when you hit the 0, it rolls back into your hit points. Obviously, with the special condition of the power word kill, because of the way it's worded, that's different. So it gives you like a ton of extra hit points, a ton of extra abilities from what you're transforming into. And it just way too overpowered for a 4th level spell.
It's also, one of the things I like about it is it's available to bards, druids, sorcerers, and wizards. So there's a good chance that at least one of those are in your party, so you'll know how to have it. And the fact that it's, when you reduce someone who's polymorphed to 0, it just isn't knocked out, and it's just such a versatile, whether you use it on yourself and your party, or to nerf an opponent or a group, whatever, one person, one being on the opposite side, that it's just like one of those must-have things that you have to have in your arsenal, no matter what class you have of the 4 I just mentioned, because it's just too useful. It's just too good.
So I do want to mention, of course, it's a concentration spell. When you transfer someone into something, they do have to turn into specifically a beast. So you have to choose a beast, and it must be of a challenge rating equal to or less than the target's level. Now, the reason why this spell is really great, but not super duper 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 powerful higher level on you guys, is because beasts in 4th edition only go up to a certain level. Or 5th edition, 4th edition, I don't remember, blah, blah, blah. In 5th edition, you only go up to a certain level, which is the reason why T-Rex is generally as far up as you get, because a Tyrannosaurus Rex is a CR8, so you can turn any creature 8th level or lower into that. You only get access to this at level 7, so it's not like you had it that much for that anyway. But also, you have other creatures you can turn yourself into. You can turn someone into a aquatic creature to make it so that they can swim appropriately. You can turn someone into a flying creature to be able to have scouting abilities. Or if you really want to just crush something, you can turn someone into a gargantuan creature and have them fall on top of you. There's a game that I watched that did that play. They did the I'm going to dimension door up and then drop and have polymorph cast on me by someone riding on top of me, and turn the creature from a medium creature into a gargantuan creature, because Brontosaurus is gargantuan. And you know what? You got to figure out what the rules would be for dropping a gargantuan creature on top of someone wearing heavy armor from a few hundred feet in the air. So you've got some really ridiculous rules that you can come up with that, and it's a lot of fun in general to do it. There's also the spell thing that you can do, which is to summon a bunch of fairies who can polymorph and convince the fairies to polymorph the entire party into T-Rexes. and do the whole I've got 5 T-Rexes and each one does 3d12 or 4d12 plus whatever damage. They hit like trucks. They're fun. They are much more powerful than an 8th level character. And Polymorph overall is just super duper fun to play with, in addition to the fact that you can do the whole I'm going to change you into something and then make it so that you'll fail a saving throw. You know what would be even funnier than just actually killing something at low level? Change something into a level CR 1/4 beast and then just cast Sleep because its hit points is 1 and it automatically fails. It's funny, and it lasts a while. And it's a lot more entertaining. Polymorph is a great spell. We all have to agree with that. Even though some of us might not have necessarily wanted to put it on this list, it had to go on this list.
It had to.
Yep.
So
if you like what we chose, if you have any other views, if you liked it, disliked it, please put it in the comments down below. Hit a like, subscribe, hit the notification button, and we will see you next time on Boredom Seated.